Hey, what's up? I am Tony, making food Matta, and this is Tony Talk, a modified view into the culinary industry. As always, I am simulcasting on my podcast and on my YouTube. My podcast is featured on Anchor Radio. It's Tony Talk, a modified view in the culinary industry. It's also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Bunker, Spreaker, Google Podcasts. I am trying to get it on iTunes. It's a little difficult when you don't have a Apple or an iPhone, but I'm trying to get it on to the iTunes platform. And I am simulcasting it on my YouTube channel too. If you want to see me, you can go into YouTube. You can type in Mattafied space cooking, and you'll see a picture of me in my chef hat on. As always, you are always welcome to send a monetary donation to Venmo or Cash App, TMFM1000. That is my tag, to donate some money for like this new tripod that I just received from some funds that some fans have given me, which is good because I'm trying to get a GoPro and another camera and do some different stuff for season 3 when I interview. So we're going to jump right in it today, and we are going to talk about, so you made it. So you think you made it. So you think you made it as a chef, okay? Let's say you did it, all right? Let's say you made it to chefdom, if you will. You finally got to that peak of your career, if you will. Let's say you have been working in the restaurant for 15 years. You know, like maybe you followed my footsteps. Maybe, in the future you listen to this podcast, you watch my YouTube channel, and then you're like, oh man, that Tony guy, he was kind of right. Oh my God. I followed his instructions and I made it to that chef life. You worked the dish pit. You worked every station on every single line. You worked fine dining. You have done catering. You've done bars. You've done bars, sports bars, dive bars. You've done something like me, like concessions. You've opened up restaurants. You've had to close down restaurants. You've done suites. You've done food trucks. You've actually put your 10,000 hours in. And you put your 10,000 hours in to being a chef, and now you've gone to school. Maybe you have got your CSC. Maybe you have gotten your certified executive sous or executive sous chef, or you got your certified executive chef through the ACF. So these are all accomplishments that you have made as being a chef and pushing. And if you've made it to this part, and you're not a hack chef, and you've made it to that degree that you always wanted to be at, I would like to congratulate you. You've made it, okay? So you have made it, but what do you do now? What do you do now? For me, I did make it as a chef, and I am a pretty good chef. I'm not the best, and I will never say that I am the best. I will never say that I'm the best chef in the world. I will not say that, I can outcook Wolfgang Puck and whatever. I will never say any of that. I know how a kitchen runs, and I get it, and I think that I'm a fairly good chef at what I do. Being a chef, now, you've made it. Okay, now being a chef isn't just sitting in the office, and then just, writing recipes and telling people what to do. If you're a chef, and if you're a good fucking chef and you've made it to that, like, you're like a mentor, you're a coach. Okay, you need to uplift your team to the next level. I went over this in the last podcast what was it? Being too prideful. So, like, like you need to elevate your team. Like you need to elevate your team. If you can make your team better, if you can teach somebody to take your spot, then you have made it and you are a good chef. So what I found, like with me, because I have made it, right? But me being the person that I am, we always have to push for the next level. What is next? Me, I'm the type of guy that always tries to push for the next level. I always try to get to that next step. For me, it's doing these podcasts, doing these YouTube videos. If you look at my YouTube, if you scroll through my YouTube and you look at the very early days, the first couple of videos that I've posted 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was very crude, and it was in my kitchen, not wearing any chef stuff, shot off one of my old camera phone, or one of my phones off the camera, and it was like not really thought out, but like it started progressing, so it started progressing, and like I knew that I wanted to do something. Like I don't really want to get onto TV per se, but I do just like to tell people about my story and let them know what it is actually like to be a chef, and the ups, the downs, the ins and outs of it. So like, I started the YouTube channel Mattafied Cooking, the brand Mattafied Cooking. I started the podcast Tony Talk, a modified view into the culinary industry. So this is what I'm doing because, I've made it, okay? And I'm not trying to be cocky, and I'm really not trying to be cocky about anything. I'm just saying that, like, I've done it, and where I was at in my life 10 years ago, hell, when I graduated culinary school in 14, it's 26 years later, I finally at the goal of the salary range that I wanted to make when I graduated. I set a goal. This is what I want to make, and it wasn't like way up there. It wasn't like I want to be in the 6 digits. Like being a chef, like I know what I'm gonna make. I know what I'm gonna top out at. And being a single guy, I'm fine with that. Kids, probably out of the question. But like I'm good with where I'm at. Me and Buddy Cat will be fine with what I'm making, but I'm going to push for more. So if you think you made it as a cook, and you have to reevaluate yourself. Now, I'm just thinking like these things that push me. You gotta keep on pushing. One of the things that I do also is I want to say charity work, community work. So you need to keep on doing work within your community. We just had the COVID-19 outbreak. When this podcast is being recorded, I'm about 7 days in quarantine right now. That's why I'm drinking hot tea. Not that I have the COVID-19, but I'm just trying to keep my immune system up. But one of the things that we did before we had to clear out the stadium and stuff is that like we went through all of our produce, anything that wouldn't be able to last because we went on lockdown. We're on lockdown for like 2 weeks. They're not talking about our restaurants not going to be open until the 14th of April, and that's like 3 weeks from this recording. So like this is like huge, and it's kind of like whoa, but like what are we going to do as chefs? We are going to donate the rest of our food, all of our perishables, anything that wouldn't last, like our cheeses and cream, like that's going to last. But like our proteins we could freeze, but our produce, what we were going to do, so as chefs, what we decided to do was donate a bunch of our food to charities and stuff, because especially Forgotten Harvest, because we knew that it was going to go bad. So like we want to help people out as chefs. So that's when you make it, you got to keep on pushing. You have to harness your craft. Another thing that I have done in the past, we're talking about community, community charity, donating all our food for the COVID-19 epidemic that's happening. We donated our food, which was good. One of the things that I did a couple years ago with Wolfgang Puck was I donated some of my time to Starfish Family Services. Okay, and some of those videos are on my YouTube channel, and I had a small class, and it was like showing people, teaching people how to cook on a budget, on a small budget, which was really helpful for that. One of the things that I'm doing now because of this COVID-19 outbreak is I'm going Facebook Live every other day and showing people how to make these dishes out of nothing. I just posted a YouTube video how to make a barbecue chicken pizza, and it didn't have any dough. I just kind of just made it. I got some other stuff that I'm doing over the course of the next couple of weeks to help out the community, to help out the team. As a chef, you should reach out to the community. As a human being, you should keep on pushing to get to the next step. Some of the things that I've done was Starfish Family Services. That was great. I also keep on pushing by helping out other kitchens. And it seems weird. So I'm a chef. I've made it. But I have actually gone to other kitchens and said, hey, chef, or talked to previous sous chefs or supervisors that got promoted to sous chefs at other places and said, hey, do you guys need help out? And then they're like, well, what are you talking about? Like in Republic over the summer, like I help out a handful of times in the weekends. Like they don't really pay me any money. Sometimes I do stuff for free, but like the fact of the matter is that we want to keep on pushing our craft. So we want to learn more stuff. I've learned stuff off of Chef Matt. It's a community. You want to keep on pushing. You want to be on that line. And I say that you want to be on that line because when you get to that chef level, sometimes I walk around with a clipboard every day, man, and I'm dying to get back in there. I'm dying to get on the line. And it keeps you sharp. Okay, so when you make it to that chefness, you can't just be I'm gonna walk around the clipboard, I'm a chef and work a 9 to 5 and fuck you, fuck that. No, fuck you. Literally. And I learned this from some of the chefs that I've worked for. Darren Thompson, Joel Narenku, and Alex Garza. Those chefs were some people that just harnessed me and inspired me. Alex Garza, executive sous chef of MGM, jumping on the line, working fryers at lunch hour in Tap because he sees that we're going down. Now that's a fucking chef right there. That's a fucking guy who is fucking kicking ass, and he's a fucking rock star. Joel Narenku, Wolfgang Puck, executive chef, rocking it out. Sees that somebody's going down on saute. Hey, Chef Nick, take this. I'm gonna go over here. He's gonna fucking rock out saute station. He's the executive chef, but he sees that his team's going down, so he's not gonna be a little bitch chef and be like, oh hey, I'm just the chef and I'm gonna run Expo and that's what I'm gonna do. No, he's gonna jump on the line. Okay, which is good, and those are chefs that you want. Darren Thompson, always at Albert's. He'd be working on the line, he'd get his ass kicked. He'd work the lunch rush by himself and maybe have a prep cook, trying to control costs, but he's working shit doing a line by himself. Instead of oh, well, I'm the chef, I'm going to sit in the office, and, could, hire another guy. No, he's going to work the lunch rush by himself. And it got fucking busy there, so those are chefs that inspired me. So when you make it, I would just advise that you're not done. You're not done. And, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask a fellow chef. Every once in a while, if I don't know a baking recipe or something like that, I'll call up Chef Duncan or shoot him a text. Say, hey man, you got this cornbread recipe? I will do something like that. I will ask Darren, like, hey man, shoot him a text. Or Chef Damon, or one of my chefs that I know that has had a good recipe for something or something like that. Like, I am going to ask for help. I'm not going to be afraid. Like, we're vulnerable. Yes, we're chefs. Yes, we made it to the top. Maybe, we went through school. Maybe we didn't go through school. But, as a chef, you have to lead by example. And you have to keep on pushing. You have to push to the end. Like, you have to keep on pushing. You have to get through that rush. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a hack chef. Don't do that. Just don't. Just lead by example. And one of the things that kind of was good for me with the company that I work for now was that they pushed me to the certified sous chef. I got my certificate over there, which is great. I did it. It was hard, but it was hard, but it kind of brought to attention some of the stuff that I had, maybe lost sight of, getting to this higher level of being a chef. The knife cuts, the proper knife cuts. When I failed the CSC for the first cooking test, me, Tony Making Food Mata, Tony motherfucking Mata, what the fuck? I failed it? Cooking, I'm a badass line cook. I am a badass line cook. And I got the moves, I got the spins, and then you're gonna get me on sanitation because I didn't have a glove. I had a glove on my I had a Band-Aid on my finger, and I had a glove on it, and then I had a glove on top of that. But they got me because I didn't have a finger cut on top of my Band-Aid, right? That was a violation. And I got failed for that. Some of my knife cuts, they weren't on point. So it's kind of humbling when you do something like that. Go into a competition, it was required for me to do that, and it kind of made me take a step back in things, and it was kind of good, So when you say you think you made it, and when I say you think you made it as a chef, and that's the podcast topic, it's so you think you made it. But did you really make it? And now, if you make it, do you have to keep on pushing? And my answer is yes. You have to always keep on pushing. There's some sort of new food trend. There's something going on. And now until you, retire, then and then that's that. And then you're off the line. My next step is to obviously do something with the social media and, and the podcast and do something. I want to have my own restaurant, obviously, but I don't want to have some steakhouse or whatever, dude. I just want to have a bar and grill with live bands. That's all I want. But if you want that Michelin star, then you go for that Michelin star. But if you make it to that Michelin star and you actually get it, or you get that James Beard, now you have to keep on pushing and you have to go above and beyond every single time, because now you have that reputation. And you have to keep on pushing. So don't be a bitch chef. Don't be a hack chef. That hack chef, that was you're not wearing the right shoes in the fucking kitchen. Get the fuck out of here. You didn't make it. You didn't make it. You're a hack. So that's kind of a little rant on you think you made it as a chef. This is being recorded during the COVID-19 epidemic. If it goes out and people do listen to this when it goes out in 2 weeks, please wash your hands. Help out your fellow people. Help out your neighbor. If you're a chef, do something. Go Facebook Live. Go to somebody's house and help out. Donate some food. Take care of yourself. Just do something to help out the community because it's just the right thing to do. So that's kind of that. You could always check this out as I'm I'm simulcasting on my podcast on my YouTube, Mattafied Cooking, Mattafied, Mattafied Cooking. You'll see a picture of me on a picture of me in my chef hat. Always check it out on my podcast. It's Tony Talk, a modified view into the culinary industry. That was located on Anchor, my main podcast. It's also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, hopefully soon iTunes, which would be great. So I think I got to get approved. I don't know. Like I said, I'm having difficulties with this. Thank you for the people who have given me monetary donations. I really, really appreciate it. This is the last episode for this season. Before I go into season 3, I will be buying new equipment. If you want to give me a monetary donation, you can always send me money to my Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. It's all TMFM1000, TMFM1000 @gmail.com for the PayPal. Anything, like I said, some fans have donated me some money to get this tripod, which actually is kind of cool because now I get a little bit more room. You can see a little bit more of my office and my studio. Pretty excited about that. Look out for season 3, which will be coming soon. This was the last episode for season 2. I think it fits for You Think You Made It. Once again, I am Tony Making Food Matta, and this is a modified view into the culinary industry on If You Think You Made It as a Chef. Thank you, and have a good night.